Welcome to my T2HDI series. That means Trip to Hornby and Denman Islands. This is episode 2 on Denman Island for my drive between ferries. Here is the big picture of our location. It's on the west coast of British Columbia, and the red circle shows Hornby and Denman Islands off the east coast of Vancouver Island. Here's a close-in look from Google Maps satellite view. On the left is Vancouver Island. Denman Island is the island in the middle, and Hornby Island on the right. And that's in the Strait of Georgia, part of the Salish Sea. Here's a close-in look at the road maps. The red circle is the start of my trip series. It's just south of Sable River on Highway 19. I continue on, go to Buckley Bay Ferry Terminal and cross the cable ferry to Denman Island. On Denman, I decide to take the alternate route to get to the other ferry terminal, and that's Lacon Road and then McFarlane Road, taking me to East Road eventually, getting down to Gravelly Bay Ferry Terminal, where I take my next ferry to Hornby Island, and then I take the main roads on Hornby Island, ending up on Central Road at the shopping district. My return trip is pretty much the same thing, except when I get onto Denman, I go East Road instead of the alternate route, and that takes me to Denman Road, crossing the spine of Denman Island, back across to Vancouver Island, and down 19A. At the end of the previous episode, I was arriving at Denman Island West Terminal on the Baines Sound Connector Cable Ferry. Now, in episode 2, let's drive across Denman Island. Try something different. I got no traffic with me, so I'm going to take the alternate route to Gravelly Bay Ferry Dock without getting lost. Okay, let's try this way and see how we do. Lacon Road. For some, this would be known as the speed route or the shortcut to get around slow-moving traffic and get a better chance of getting closer in the line to the Hornby Ferry. For me, a chance to see something different on Denman. turn off to the Hornby Ferry. So again, I'm really curious if we're going to have a steep climb over the Denman Island mountain range, or if it's much simpler. Find out. And here we are. Wow, okay. No real steep hills. Nice and smooth ride. I can see why some people would use this as a shortcut, although not the place to have a race. Here we are on East Road. Oh yeah, there's some bright morning sun that we're driving into. This is such a pretty spot on South Denman Island, and it's just too bad that most of the year it's just a parking lot of people waiting for the too small Hornby Island ferry. Here we have that moment of arriving and determining if I'm first on the ferry, and I'm not. I gotta be second on. I got a long wait of over an hour and a half, and I'm happy with that because I get to relax at this beautiful spot. There's Hornby Island, Mount Joffrey, prominent mountain, Lambert Channel between Hornby and Denman, looking towards the morning sun. I always enjoy spending time here in the quiet, although I only come here usually in this time of the year, in the winter. In the summer, it's much different. Bunch of people in lineups for hours. Gravelly Bay terminal here. Beside the terminal have these old boat ramp areas, and I'm not sure if this goes back to the original ferry landing back in the Savoy days of the Hornby Island 5 or the Lorraine S. She held 6 cars, quoting John McLaughlin's songs there. Perhaps this was part of the old slip. I'm not sure. I think maybe the ferry used to run to Ford's Cove, apostrophe S, back then. Here's another area where perhaps this was part of the original ferry slip in the old days, or just always a boat ramp. So if you're waiting multiple sailings in the summertime to get to Hornby and you're close enough to be here, this would be a fabulous spot to wait in the warm weather. Lovely little beach. Let's walk back to the terminal. Here's the pleasant view from inside the waiting room at Gravelly Bay on Denman Island, looking out towards Shingle Spit at Hornby Island, where my ferry, the Coloki, is. That's where it's home ported, and in a while it'll take its first sailing over, and then I'll head on over to Hornby. While I was in the terminal washroom, the guy in front of me left. Maybe he realized that the first ferry isn't for over an hour from now. In any case, I'm now first, which really just means I have better views for doing this dashboard camera work, especially with the ferry arriving from this angle. So this is the setup. Very amateur. GorillaPod, little Sony small camera, RX100. Thanks for watching this episode. On the next episode, you'll see me take the ferry to Hornby Island.